This story begins at the garbage dump on the island of Cozumel, Mexico. It was there on a day so hot it hurt to breathe that my people opened the door of their truck and pushed me out. Confused and a little scared, I tried to jump back in, but the door was slammed in my face. I stood up on my back legs and put my paws on the window. I could see Grandpa's hands on the steering wheel and tears on his face. I didn't understand. "What's wrong?" I barked. "No, Lucita, get down," he shouted. Then the truck's engine roared and the door slid away beneath my paws, leaving long scratch marks from my claws in the paint. Dust from the wheels filled the air and settled on my fur. Sad and puzzled, I sat down to wait for my people, but they never returned. 2 days later, in a den made from an empty plastic water jug and a scrap of greasy carpet, I gave life to my little son. "Welcome to the world," I whispered in his ears as I washed him from head to toe. He squirmed and squeaked and shoved his wet nose against my belly, demanding to be fed. "Hungry, hungry, hungry," he whimpered. "Little pig," I laughed. "I should name you Piglet." In fact, I named him Lobo, Little Wolf. "Who am I, Mama?" he asked as he struggled to get control of his wobbly puppy legs. "You're my little big dog, Lobo," I replied, licking his nose, "and you're the very best doggy ever." "Yeah," he barked, "I'm the very best doggy ever." It wasn't long before Lobo outgrew our den. I knew it was time to introduce him to the other residents of the dump. In addition to a pack of a dozen or more mixed breed dogs, there were 3 older men living in a cardboard shack. One I already knew. Each day since Lobo's birth, he had left a clean dish of water and some scraps of food by the door. Though he smelled of stale beer and bad teeth, his words and eyes were kind. "There, there, pretty mama," he would say gently. "Here's some water for you and your baby." The other 2 men I'd smelled from a distance, but they were always surrounded by happy dogs. I didn't like the idea of meeting strangers, but we needed help. Early the next morning, before the sun began to appear above the horizon, I nudged Lobo out of the den. "Follow me," I said, "and stay close." "Okay, Mama," he said. We walked across the piles of trash and broken glass. Whenever one of the big black vultures looked at Lobo, I growled. Mostly they flapped their wings and hopped away. One, however, tipped its head and made sharp clicking noises with its beak. "He'll make a tasty meal someday," the bird said. "Get away, get away, get away," I growled, showing my teeth and getting ready to bite. "Ha," he hissed in a raspy voice, "I'll be watching you." "Come on, Lobo, let's keep going." Up ahead, the other dogs had spotted us and were coming over. The 3 men were sitting in plastic chairs behind them talking. As Lobo and I approached, the man who brought us food and water looked up and smiled. "Hey there, Mama Dog, are you coming to visit?" he asked. As the curious dogs surrounded us, the first to take a sniff was a brown and white shepherd with one floppy ear and red-rimmed eyes. He smelled me all over, licked my face, and said, "Sorry to see you here. This is no place for a cachorro." Cachorro means puppy. "Thank you," I said, being careful to hold my tail low and wag it very slowly to show I was friendly. The shepherd was followed by more than a dozen dogs. They came in all sizes, colors, and shapes, from a tiny black and tan chihuahua to an elegant long-legged mother of 6 puppies with sand-colored fur. My favorite, however, was a scruffy rust-red terrier named Chiquera. She offered me a spot in the shade and laughed to see Lobo playing tug-of-war with an old black wig he and the other pups had stolen from the vultures. "He's a great little guy," she said, "but he doesn't belong here." "Nothing belongs here," I said. "I do," she said happily. "Gabacho, Don Pato, and Don Jose are my family." I thought about this. A dog has 2 jobs: find her family and love them with all her heart. If Gabacho, Don Pato, and Don Jose were her family, then this was Chiquera's home. "I'm happy you found your family," I said. "I wish I still had mine." "Maybe the come-and-go people can help you." "What are come-and-go people?" I asked. "They come in white trucks with blue letters. They bring food, water, and medicine. Sometimes they take the sickest dogs away. They took me once." "What? They took you?" I exclaimed. Oh yes, I was very sick, she said. They took me to a place with lots of other dogs. Then they washed and cut my hair, cleaned my ears, and gave me nasty tasting pills. Sometimes they gave me shots, but they also killed the fleas and ticks and cured my skin. That was wonderful. I'd like to meet these come and go people, I said. How often do they visit? Who knows, Takara said. They come, they go, they come, they go. Keep your eyes open. End of chapter 1. This next part is an email from a guy named Freddie to his friend named Melissa. Okay? Who knows what email is? What's email?
It's like where you can send letters and...
Yep. Notes and things, yeah. How do you send it?
On your phone.
On your phone? How else can you send it?
On your computer.
Right? How else can you send it?
On an iPad.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so it's written messages, right? That you send on your computer, some kind of computer, some device, right? Okay. Dear Melissa, this is all your fault. You're my best friend, and you're supposed to stop me from doing stupid things. Taking this job, writing about travel to Cozumel, was stupid. I write mystery stories, not travel guides. So far, I have thrown up on 2 fishing trips, been stung by jellyfish while snorkeling, pulled a muscle in my back while kayaking, and met some very hungry mosquitoes while touring a Mayan temple. At the moment, I am nursing my sunburn and an earache in my fancy air-conditioned hotel room. I'm supposed to be writing about the fresh homemade tortillas at the restaurant, but I have a better idea. I'm going to investigate a mystery at the local garbage dump. Stay tuned. Okay, so next day, he writes to her again. Hi, Melissa. Sorry to leave you hanging. My ride to the dump was waiting. Yes, I really did go to the garbage dump, and you won't believe why. There are dogs living there. A guy I met at the taco joint named Joaquin and his co-worker Andrea took me. They work for a group called the International Fund for Animal Welfare and the Humane Society of Cozumel. While we were driving to the dump, he told me about the dogs. Most of them were abandoned by their owners. It's kind of sad, really. Some people are so poor they can't afford to feed their dogs, and they leave them there hoping they'll survive on food scraps. But get this, there are 3 old guys who live at the dump too. They know all the dogs and give them great names like La Burra, El Machin, and La Tita. The men take care of the dogs as best they can. Their names are Gabacho, Don Pato, and Don Jose. Okay, now for the gross part. Are you ready? The place smells worse than a sewer. It's this awful combination of rotten eggs, burning plastic, rotten vegetables, steaming piles of poop, and dead meat. I don't know how the dogs stand it. I thought I was gonna barf. The second we got out of the truck, the flies attacked us. Thousands and thousands of flies buzzing around my face and landing on my arms and legs. I was freaked out. But the men and the dogs seemed used to it. They were quite friendly and came over to say hello. Joaquin and Andrea knew everyone's name. They shook hands, scratched ears, and rubbed bellies for about 10 minutes before getting down to business. We were there to deliver medicine and take the sickest dogs back to the clinic. While they were talking to Gabacho, I noticed a tan and white puppy and his mother watching me. They seemed a lot healthier than the other dogs. I squatted down, held out my hand, and said, "Hi, guys." The mother backed away and barked, but the pup came right over. He was dragging a deflated basketball that was bigger than him. He wanted to try to get the ball away from me. How cute is that? In the end, we took 15 dogs with us, including the puppy and his mother. You should think about adopting him, Joaquin said. Even though most dogs find good homes in Cozumel, some are adopted by people in the US and Canada. I'll think about it, I said, and spent the rest of the drive asking questions about their work. These people are amazing. The heck with writing about a tourist trap. I want to tell their story. I have to go to bed now. It's past midnight and my head is buzzing. I need sleep. To be continued. So what happened?
He visited the dump and met all the dogs and
Yeah.
took them back to
Yeah.
the come and go people.
The come and go people. He visited with the come and go people. Yep.
In the first story, they talked about tug of war and you have that little tug of war thing.
It's true, yeah. you think it would work at the dump?
No.
It'd get awful dirty awful fast, wouldn't it? What do you think of those vultures?
Mean.
Yeah, they are kind of
Creepy.
creepy. Have you seen pictures of vultures?
Yeah.
They have bald heads and they're black. They're not my favorite.
Yeah.
Chapter 3, Lucita plants a seed.
A wolf or a dog?
Well, you'll see. That's a good question. It's a wolf, but... Yes? Or you're just holding up your hand to hold it. Are you ready? Are we ready for chapter 3? Everybody wiggle and squiggle and do everything you need to do so that you're comfortable again. Okay? You ready? Okay, chapter 3. So we're back to, she's talking again, okay? It's been 4 sleeps since the come-and-go people took me and Lobo from the dump. It happened just as Sequoia said it would. 3 people arrived in a small white truck that muttered and coughed its way over the bumps in the road to the center of the dump. Many of the dogs seemed to recognize the sound and went out with Gabacho to greet him. Lobo and I watched from a safe distance. 2 people dressed in matching white shirts with the letters IFAW on the back shook hands, rubbed bellies, and started to unload boxes of medicine, water, and animal carriers. The third person, a skinny man with red skin, messy blonde hair, and glasses that slid down his nose, hung back. He seemed upset, waving his hand in front of his face and slapping at the flies landing on his body. When he saw us watching, he smiled and called, "Hey guys," in a soft voice. My little Lobo took one look at him and galloped over to say hello. "Lobo," I barked, "mind your manners." "Not to worry, Mama," Gabacho said, scratching my ears. "These are good people." "Is she new?" the come-and-go woman asked. "Yes, she and the pup arrived a couple of weeks ago," said Gabacho. "Is it okay to take them? I bet we can find them homes." "Yes," Gabacho agreed. "She's not happy here." Gently, he scooped me up and slid me into one of the carriers. "Take good care, Mama Dog. We'll miss you." Since arriving at this place, Lobo and I have been fed, washed, clipped, examined with lights and thermometers, given pills and shots, had soft red collars placed around our necks, and asked to walk on leashes. We have also met many kind and gentle people who know where to scratch and how to give belly rubs. My favorite so far is Andrea, a calm, quiet woman who gets down on the floor and lets me crawl into her lap to give her kisses. If I had my way, I would stay with her forever. Lobo, however, has fallen in love with the skinny red-haired man whose name is Freddie. Freddie has come each day to play and check on Lobo's progress. "I like him, Mama," Lobo says each time Freddie visits. "I like him too," I said, "but I don't like that he calls you Sprout. That's not your name." "It's okay, Mama, I don't mind," said Lobo. I thought about this long and hard. Sprout was not a bad name, and Freddie loved my son. But on the other hand, Lobo was more than just a name. If Freddie was going to be my son's person, Lobo and I needed to talk. That night before he could fall asleep, I nudged him with my nose. "I have an important story to tell you, Lobo." "Okay, Mama," he said, sounding very sleepy. "Pay attention, Lobo," I said a little sharply. "This is important." Okay, Mama," he said, sitting up so he wouldn't fall asleep. "I'm listening." "Once upon a time," I began, "there were no dogs, only wolves. Wolves looked a lot like dogs, but were bigger and fiercer. They had long legs, thick fur, and eyes that glowed like fire in the dark. Wolves were also very smart, so all the other animals trusted them to keep the balance." "What about people? Where were people?" Lobo asked. "Good question," I said. "In the beginning, there were very few people. Their small, weak, and hairless bodies were very slow, and they had to live in caves to keep from being eaten. No one gave much thought to people. Then one day, the mother of all wolves, a great gray female with worn yellow teeth, ragged ears, and pale eyes, began hearing disturbing things." What did she hear?" Lobo asked. "There were reports of people killing and enslaving animals for fun." "Not good, not good, not good," woofed Lobo. "Not good at all," I agreed. So Great Gray Mother Wolf asked her scouts to investigate. What did they find? They discovered people were using their brains to create weapons, tools, and shelters to protect themselves and make it easy to find food. They also created a language only they could understand. This language made it harder for them to hear and communicate with all the other creatures on the planet. Weren't they lonely, talking only to themselves? Lobo asked. No, not at first. They were so busy thinking they didn't realize what they'd done. They forgot that an idea is only wonderful if the heart approves. They forgot to listen to their hearts, Lobo said. Exactly. Well, as you can imagine, this was a big problem. Great Gray Mother Wolf thought long and hard and checked her own heart for a solution. This is what she decided to do. A call went out to wolves everywhere, asking for volunteers willing to become dogs. Each wolf dog would choose a person to live and work with. Their job was to love their people so much that they remembered to use their hearts as well as their brains. Wow, that's a big job, said Lobo. Yes, it is, I said, and now it's your job too. That's why it's so important to remember that you are Lobo, a wolf dog and champion of the heart. I won't forget, Mama, I promise, Lobo said. I know you won't, I said. You're my son, and you saw what happened at the dump when people forgot to listen to their hearts. I'll remind Freddie every single day, he said. Yes, you must help Freddie be the very best person he can be. End of chapter 3. So what happened to people, do you think? What do you think happened to people? Go ahead.
People started caring about nature
Yeah.
and the wonders.
Yeah, nature's wonderful, isn't it? But when we use our heads too much, what happens? What does she say happens?
You forget to use your hearts.
Yeah, so what happens? You get out of balance, you know. If you only feel you're too heavy this way, if you only think you're too heavy this way, we need a balance. We use two sides, you know. Okay? All right, we're back to the email, Freddie's email, all right? Freddie's writing to Melissa again, okay? Chapter 4, Freddie and a Wolf on a Mission. Hey Mel, Freddie here. You won't believe what I decided to do. After spending all this time researching the Cosmo dump dogs and talking to people here, I've decided to adopt the puppy I told you about. I've named him Sprout, and I'll be bringing him back to the States after he's been neutered and had all his shots. All that should take another week. Before you tell me I'm off my rocker, let me explain. The IFAW staff said it's important to socialize puppies, so I started bringing my laptop down to the shelter and sitting with him while I wrote. What does socialize mean?
Get them used to people.
Yeah, get them used to people and other dogs. Good. It turns out it was as good for me as it was for him. There was something about his funny, whiskery face and sweet gray eyes that made it easier to write. I've even come up with a great idea for a new book. It'll be about a detective who works with a little dog named Sleuth to solve mysteries. What do you think? I'm attaching my notes on the dogs and some images I'd like you to take a look at. Do you think you can work your Photoshop magic on any of them? Please be thinking about possible layouts for a website too. I'd really like to do more than file a story. I want to help educate people and spread the word about these people and their great work. Anyway, I'll email you again when I know the exact dates and times of my flights. I'm looking forward to introducing you and Ms. Janiyah to Sprout. Freddie. The end. Now, you see these pictures? These are real pictures of the real Cozumel dump. And the characters in this, except for Lucita and Sprout, Lobo, are real. So the Cozumel dump actually existed, and these men, here's one of them, lived there with these dogs, and these are some of the dogs that were there. And they actually helped these dogs find homes, and they worked with the Humane Society and IFAW to find them homes and make them healthy again. So pretty amazing, huh? It's a great story. And this is one of the dogs after he's found a home, and tell me he isn't happy. Guys, got any questions?
How come the vulture, how come that vulture that wasn't scared of the mama dog, how come after he said that he was gonna eat the little puppy. How
Right.
come he didn't see the little puppy again?
Because they got him out of the dump. Remember the come and go people came and they took him away so the vultures couldn't get him because he was pretty small.
Why are most of your stories they always are involved with animals?
Yeah.
I like how you do it.
You like how I do it?
Yes.
You want to know why I do it that way? Because when I was your age, I had a wonderful dog named Ginger, and I used to make up stories with her. And I thought, if I could tell Ginger's stories, and tell it to other kids, maybe they'd learn good things from their dogs too. I think that my feeling is that dogs teach us good things. Don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes.
I thought vultures ate meat that had already died,
That's right. Vultures are what we call carrion eaters, which means they eat things that are dead.
So, with the puppy, he probably would have died. Why did the vulture say he was going to eat?
Yeah, well, so he was hoping he would die so we could eat him. He was not a nice vulture.
No, vultures are all predators.
Yeah, and they're funny looking. Have you noticed? They're, ooh.
I've seen a video. And also, the vulture said one day.
Yeah, one day.
Hoping.
Well, he was hoping one day he would make a nice, tasty meal. Yes.
Why are in some books vultures so mean?
You know what? That's a really good question. What do we think about the color black?
It's not
What do you think about when I say black? What do you think about? Bad, dark. What else?
dark side. Scary.
Scary.
Sleep.
What else?
Sleeping.
Sleeping. Okay. Evil. So I think that we put certain feelings with certain colors and looks, and they're kind of ugly and wrinkly, and they eat dead things. Even though it's important to have things eat dead things, so we clean up. But still they eat dead things, and they're dark color, and we think that they're bad. So I think that that's what the problem is. Not that they're really bad, but that they're a good way to talk about evil. We use them as a symbol. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
What happened to the mama dog?
That's a great question. She stayed, and she is there at the Humane Society with Andrea. Remember, she wanted to stay with Andrea because she loved her so much she could kiss her? Yeah. It's a good question. Yes? So do you guys, what would you like to hear about? What else would you like to hear about?
Did you go there and take those pictures?
I did not, but the people that we're working with, the IFAW people, they work there, and they're, the person who they hired sent me these pictures. Good question. Any more? Yeah, go ahead.
The three that in the cardboard shack here?
Yes, that's one of them. His name is Gabacho. So when they closed the dump, a private company came in and said, we need to clean this up. There are too many vultures and too many flies, and it's dirty and blah. So they decided they'd clean it up. So the dogs and the cats all found homes, and Gabacho and the two other men had to leave. So one of the men was really old and he died, and the other two men, we don't know where they are now. It's kind of interesting because what happens when people don't have homes, He did not die. He's okay. This guy in the back, I can't tell if it's him, but one of the men was really old and he passed away. That's okay. But what happens when people are homeless? Go ahead.
They don't have any food and
Right.
they can't survive it. So
That's right. So maybe they went to live in the dump. I mean, to me, it was a really good lesson about caring about people, other people. Even if they're homeless, we try to help them. Yeah. Go ahead.
when people are homeless, one reason they could have died is because they died of hunger.
They died of hunger, or they couldn't go to the doctor. So it's a good lesson. I mean, I asked the people who were helping me with this. I said, "What happened to them?" And they told me. We offered him a job at the Humane Society, and he said no, and he left, and they don't know where he is. One of them died because he was old, and the other one, they don't know where he went. So it's kind of a little bit sad, Yes?
How did you get the whole set?
The whole what?
The set.
set
of stuff.
You mean the pictures and things?
Yeah.
All of it. Is this a girl or a boy?
That's a girl. You mean what do you mean, the whole story and everything?
The story and the pictures and
Okay, so
name
our
tags and the book.
okay, so I've always wanted to write a story called CritterKin about animals because I love animals. And we met these wonderful people at IFAW, and that's their job. They help animals everywhere. Elephants and rhinoceroses and dolphins and whales and dogs and cats.
Hippos?
Hippos, yes, hippos. And giraffes, they help them. So, lions, yes,
Zebras?
I'm sure.
Dolphins?
Dolphins especially. They started helping dolphins and whales at first. So their name is IFAW. You can look it up on the internet. They're wonderful people. And they said, what if you wrote a story about our operations in Cozumel, Mexico? And I said, they said, no, it's great. It's really interesting. There are these dump dogs and there are these guys. And I said, oh. So then I got really interested. So I did some research and they sent me pictures. And my brain started working really hard, you know? And I thought, I think I can write a story. Does that make sense? And then, because I was writing the story, I started getting pictures in my head, so I drew him. I started with him, and then I did his mama, and then I did the wolf. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? No. Next.
How can you draw that good?
I practice a lot, and I'm old. Because I practice a lot. When I was in school, I studied drawing. Does that help? No. Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How old was the guy who died?
They're not sure, but they said he was in his 80s. So someday I'll show you a picture. In the book there will be more pictures and you can see him. He looks really tired and old, so. Yes?
My mom, she was in art class when she was in college.
Uh-huh.
And her teacher said draw something all pink, and she drew a man and we had that.
That's neat.
And she drew a family.
How many of you like to draw? I love drawing. So one of the things that I'm thinking about doing, tell me if you think it's a good idea. I would love to make a CritterKin coloring book. Would you guys like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll keep you posted. I have some I can start to put up and you can color them and send them to me, huh? I would really like that. Go ahead.
Which guy was the one who gave the dogs food?
Mr. Gabacho. They call him the hero there. The other two men were kind of old and sick, so they didn't work with the dogs as much, but these dogs loved him. They followed him all around the dump, and he got them food and everything. He's really a great guy. Yes?
But is he still in the dump?
No, because they closed the dump.
Did he take the dogs with him?
No, well, he took the dogs to the shelter so they could be adopted. Yes?
So, was he homeless?
Yes.
So where did he get the food
From the dump. There are pictures. I have videos of him taking a stick and opening the garbage bags to find food for the dogs and the vultures.
But
why did he take the vultures?
Because he couldn't get rid of the vultures. There's so many of them. So they'd hop over and help themselves. I don't know about you, but I don't want to fight with a vulture. Anything else? Great question. Yes?
You know that dog from last time?
Yes.
That we saw at the car to see? Is he still okay?
Ricky Bobby, yes, he's still okay. He's doing fantastic. And we'll have him in more of our stories later. We're going to write his whole story for you. Okay? In fact, I just saw him not too long ago. He's gotten a lot stronger. And he kind of bosses there's a big golden Labrador that lives with him, and he bosses him around. And you know, Ricky Bobby's this big. And the golden Labrador is this big. But he bosses them around. It's really funny. It's cute. It's really cute. Small is mighty. Okay, anything else? More. Okay. Thank you for coming. It was great to meet you.